Last time on the Thai Life.
I've been taken away with this engine. I'm definitely not a mechanic. I've had a number of issues. I took the carburetor off and this is full of gunk. Gaskets look good, everything looks good on it. That thing doesn't though. Back at the mill, still messing around with the carburetor on it. I opted to get a new one once I found the serial number on the motor. So luckily Amazon had a new one for me. Nice and shiny, not so shiny. You can see this one's still pretty corroded. I did take it off and tried to clean it, took it apart a little bit. This was actually only, I think, $78, which is pretty cheap. So gonna throw this one on. It came with a few gaskets, so I've cleaned up on top of the motor where this is gonna go, as well as in and around there a bit, blowing it off. So I'm hoping this will do the trick, but I do have a breather hose that goes into the top of the carb that is damaged as well, which could be causing me the problem. I'm going to throw this one on though, try it with the damaged breather hose. I did order 2 breather hoses, but we're going to try this anyway. Hopefully it works. If not, I'm going to have to wait for the breather hoses to come in, and obviously I'll replace that once, oh boy, there we go. Replace that once we get those parts in. Sorry, that took me a long time to say. So yeah, let's go up there. I'll show you kind of what I'm dealing with. It's a little bit challenging to get up there. In a bit of an awkward spot. But I have to hop up to the top of the motor, which is up over there, off the ground. So let's get up there anyway, and I'll just go over what I'm dealing with. Okay, so pretty proud of myself. I got this thing running. Still sounds a little rough, but just show you here that it does start. So I'm just going to take the camera off and show you why this is so important for it to be able to run it idle, and then as it kicks up. There's a flywheel on the other side, which engages at, I don't know, 2000 RPM, exactly what it is, but I'll just show you what I'm talking about here. Because the blade's attached to the flywheel, so the clutch engages and then spins the flywheel off this crank on the front. But let's just show you what I'm talking about. Turn like a kitten. There we go. So then it disengages, and yeah, it's exactly what we want it to do. So I am going to change the oil one more time on this, because it's got a 530 weight in there that my neighbor gave me just to flush it out. I'm gonna go pick up some 10W30 is what it's recommended. Yeah, do one more thing, and I'll change the filter one more time because it did have water in there. And then we're going to put the blade on, and I have to work on leveling and stabilizing the whole base. And we're going to try to cut some logs. It's going to be awesome. I should probably say that I have no experience running one of these. I feel pretty fortunate to have been given use of this from our friend, Joe from the CC Ranch. We did one video where we wrangled some cattle there and took inventory, which was pretty cool. Anyways, they had this sitting there, which Michelle explained in the last video. It's been here for just about a year and a half, but finally got the engine going. This, what I'm sitting on, is a loader, so it's hydraulic. You put the log kind of where my knees are, and it will flip it up onto the rack. These need to be up, so it covers the track where the hydraulic lines are. Doesn't damage that, and it'll roll it up onto the table. Anyhow, there are a whole bunch of different levers, and they operate all the different hydraulic components. It'll be really difficult to run the video and explain what they do, so I think the best thing to do is going to be get a log on here and just kind of show you what everything does. I'll maybe grab the camera and go around, show the hydraulic components and the benefits of them, but it's going to make a lot less labor, a lot less muscle required. Let's do that. Okay, so as I was saying, these are just a bit of an extension. So when the lifter lifts the log up and over, these span across the hydraulic cable line and onto the rail, and then it allows the log to sit on the table. And this is all the different hydraulic levers. So we have the loader, which is the far left one, which will lifts it up, and down lifts it down. And then you can see the little pin, the steel rod there. That's, I guess you would call it an extender. But if I pull the cable that's here, that drops down. So the reason for that to drop down, I'm guessing, is, I don't know what it's for. Oh, that's right. The housing on the flywheel that holds the blade will hit that if it's up as you come along and cut. So it saves you from taking a trip to the other side. And then we have the rollers, which are on hydraulics. There's a front roller there and another roller here. And that lifts those up and down just to, if you need to move the log back and forth, I'm guessing. Not exactly sure. I'll have to see how it works to move the log. And then this one is to pin the log against this rail. So this rail, once you get the log up and on, you put that rail up, and you want to pinch the log so the log doesn't move. And then this one, I think, is probably the coolest, because on the manifold there with all the hydraulics, they're calling this a turner. And it has a couple of, it's kind of hard to see here. There we go. It has a couple of teeth on it, so if you get this situated, this also moves side to side along this rail hydraulically. So you can get this situated to actually pick up the edge of the log and roll it once you've cut it, or if you want to get it positioned properly for your first cut. So all super slick. Can't wait to cut a log. So I do have a bunch of logs over here and even further over here, but I need to move a few things out of the way. But I think I might try to cut one tonight. Let's see how it goes. Last but not least, we have, this is not gasoline. It's where we put the water with the dish soap detergent, and then there's tubing, which, as you can see, it is dried out. Thankfully, my neighbor had some. Saved me a trip to town. Same guy that gave us the free glass for the glass greenhouse. So I'm going to replace the tubing from this tank, and this is going to be situated where it sits on top of the blade, and that gives a constant feed of kind of lube and Keeps the blade clean, I think, too. We'll see. But I gotta get this sorted out, and then we're gonna cut some logs. Michelle's just finishing up another video. Somebody's laying an egg. That's the sounds they make. I gotta tell everybody all about it. Anyways, let's get this put together. Get the mill warmed up. I still have to move a couple things around to get a log, and I'm pretty excited to get started on this. So, get going. Iced up. We were pretty cold last night. I'm going to cut this off, but first I'm going to measure out the lengths that these were. Put those other two back together. And cut new stuff. A little longer because it's always easier to cut it off if we need. Right. I think I'm going to want to use a heat gun. I brought one. Just in case. Whoa. You'll have seen there that, whoops, I was cutting that tubing and had the knife, the first time I had the knife pulling away from where my hand was, and the second time I had it held awkwardly. Anyways, I sliced my thumb pretty bad, but the blade on the X-Acto knife was brand new, which is a good thing. However, it was extra sharp. And, yeah, we're going to show you a picture of what it looks like. So if you have a weak stomach, maybe just shut your eyes for about 3 seconds, 5 seconds here. That's probably more than enough time. Anyways, sliced it pretty good. Yeah, had to go to the hospital, get some stitches, and they took care of me pretty quickly, actually. So it's been a few hours, but back to the tubing, and then Michelle's just working on some seedling repotting and uppotting her plants, and she's going to come out and we're going to cut our first log here still today. So I'm going to do this a little more safely. I'm going to heat it up with the heat gun. Take a little bit more time. It's pretty brittle. You would have thought that it would have cut a little nicer, but it sure didn't. Now I've got banged up thumb. So anyhow, let's get this on, get this container back up in place and the hosing situated on the blade, and we'll make sure that's ready before we throw the log on.
Good morning, chicken. Good morning. Hey. Are you hungry? Are you hungry? Oh, whew, they're extra stinky today. Whew. Whoa.
This is a new girl who jumped ship from her old flock and joined our old flock.
Yeah.
She was just a couple sleepovers and now she's here all the time.
This is Diana. She's one of the new hens that we got from the new batch, and she decided that she wants to be with this crew, not her old crew. Here, guys. Where are you going? Do one more thing. Gonna dump this here. Ready?
Oh, slower, slower. Yeah. Oyster shells.
All right. Now that those guys are fed, I'm gonna show you the broody hen. Show you how she's doing. She gets breakfast in bed.
So one of the things Michelle's been doing is we let this flock out first with our new rooster, Rod. Because Rod and Poke, our other rooster, get into it a little bit in the morning, and Poke is kind of the head honcho. So this gives Rod a little bit of peace with his girls. And when they free range, what happens, babe?
When they free range, since we've been letting them free range, the two roosters and two flocks, I guess you could say, situation is working out really, really well because they have lots of space. So there's definitely something to be said if you have roosters that don't necessarily get along. If you were able to give them more space, it works, because when they were cooped up in this area, which is quite large, Poke wouldn't let Rod, the other rooster, touch any of the hens. None of the hens, even the ones that he sleeps in his coop with. But since they've been free ranging, they go off on their own two little, what do you call it?
Groups.
So they go off on in their own separate little groups. So all the girls, the hens that Poke sleeps with in here, he hangs out with wherever on our property, and then Rod and his ladies that he sleeps with in his coop all go off on their own. So it's been really good for all of the chickens since we've been letting them free range. And you can hear Jojo barking in the background. She's been doing an awesome job keeping the chickens safe, and I have my fingers crossed that this year we won't have any issues with fox, knock on wood. We have in years past, but Jojo hadn't been as confident and had as much experience being a guardian dog. She was tied up for the first almost year of her life. So
Year and a bit.
Yeah, so she's now completely free ranging and runs this town, let me tell you. So I'm very confident that she's going to be able to keep all of the foxes away. And when the chickens are free ranging, she doesn't leave the property, which is awesome, because she usually goes for a few romps around the neighborhood every day for sometimes hours. Anyway, we're going to go see Peaches. She's our broody hen. I bring her breakfast in bed every morning. And yeah, let's go over there. I'm sure I am. This stick. I gotta get those scissor things that you gave me in. It's like in the worst spot. Are you filming?
Maybe.
Okay. All right. So here's Peach's little hutch. This is the old bunny hutch.
Old bunny hutch.
It's true.
It's a house.
It's a hutch. That's what you call a bunny hutch.
Oh, cool. I never heard that before.
So let us know who's right in the comments, please. Bunny house or bunny hutch? Okay, so Peaches is in here. Come over here, babe. Let me see her. So I've discovered this is our third broody hen, and I've come to the realization that they are all very different when they're broody. In the case of the other two, they were absolutely okay with me touching them. I mean, it took a little bit of work, but as you can see, Peaches not okay. She's getting all puffy. She definitely doesn't want to be interrupted in her job here, but she does enjoy when I bring her breakfast and water every morning in these little dishes that I just stick in the corner here. And she enjoys that, but she still gets off of her nest once a day to relieve herself and whatnot. But yeah, she's definitely not going to let me have a peek at anything going on under there. Okay, I won't bug you, honey. So yeah, there's an update with Peaches. She's due on May the 7th, I believe. And we'll absolutely be keeping everybody updated. Oh, look who's back. Hootie.
You know that's Peach's place, right? Good girl, Hootie.
Look at all the seams that are supposed to be no seams, but I see them. Okay, so I should have spun that up a little faster, but being it was the first log, just wasn't sure. It's a pretty big log. Better slow, especially today after this. And safe, right, babe? Oh, she likes to turn it. Oh, she's got a big kick in it. Okay, that's enough though. See. Is it past that riser part? Yeah. Okay, I can turn it still on there. So I'm gonna fire it back up. This is balancing it. I just don't want it to roll back. 1 sec. Turner works pretty awesome. The reason I was trying to do that is there's a bit of a hook in the end of this log. And the first pass that I do, I'm going to start doing 1-inch material just till I get down to enough of a flat spot to actually do 4x10 beams. We'll do a couple 1-inch passes because we're going to need 1-inch material for our coop, our new coop, and as well as the other new coop. So the coop we haven't started and the one that we started that just has house wrap on it. Now there's a piece here as well. So this piece pins the log to the, there's a like a guard on the other side as well, so that's going to pinch the log. And then what I was trying to do is I'm measuring at the blade side, and it's about 17 inches. And then they call this piece front toe or rear toe. So what this actually helps me do is I just lifted it up so that I'm sitting at 17 inches above the frame, equal, give or take. So I'm not going to have a whole bunch of waste on the when I cut it off. Hopefully that makes sense. We're going to try to cut this one right now. Are you ready? I just got to check the height of that. Yeah, we got to be careful of the height of that thing too. The guy could cut right into it. Okay, so there's a couple other things that are going on. So this bar, I'm going to drop this down because we obviously don't want the bandsaw blade to hit it. So I'll have to drop that down and find a good pinching point for the log that's a little bit lower. These as well, I briefly spoke about before. So these are going to affect the track that the bandsaw slides on. So there's a cool little cable. This cable over here, it flips, you pull on it and it flips them down and out of the way. Probably easier when the loader is down. So I'm going to start it back up, adjust the pinch points. I've got the height where I want it, and drop the loader, and we're going to start cutting. So not exactly sure why, but as I'm coming through, it seems to want to drop, and the blade is, you can see the blade tensioning back up that way. And then it's causing too much friction on the blade. I'm wondering, maybe the blades are dull? What do you think, Ron?
I think so.
Would that cause them to drop?
It depends on which side they're set. I don't know the set here.
Like this only, go careful, it might be hot.
No. Yeah. Depends.
Like I would have thought the cutting motion would, these teeth should be facing that way. Because this is going this way.
Oh, you got the, yeah, it's going backwards.
So you can't put it on any other way. I'll show you.
Are you sure? And
It looks like it's backwards to me.
well, it doesn't. Yeah, that is backwards. Absolutely backwards.
They might have done it to be like, okay, this one needs to be sharpened now.
What? Who knows?
Right. But that's actually not a bad idea.
So the bottom one. Which way is it going?
It's coming towards us.
Come towards you.
Yeah. So it's,
So that's
where
right.
you
Yeah.
come.
Yeah.
I didn't think you should do that. I thought it would bugger them.
No. Oh shit. No.
So blades backwards.
Thanks, neighbor.
You wanna? Good thing you came over. So it turns out the blade is on backwards, and my neighbor showed me a little trick. He came at a really opportune time for flipping these blades around. I did check it. I was concerned that it wasn't right, because your teeth should always be in the direction of the rotation. I've got it opposite, so I just have to quickly take the tension off the flywheel, take the blade off, flip it around, put it back on. So get that done. Up over there. Oh, the blade, all the rust is coming off there quite nicely too, so. I just did that because I wanted to give it a good cleaning for rust. Okay, so what did he do? He said take it like this. Okay. Now, that's definitely the right way. Now we're going to slide it back on. There. Feels quite sharp, so. Also, I'm just lining the back of the blade up with the back of the flywheel. That seemed to work really well when I did it the first time. Down. Okay, I'm gonna go to the other side, do the same thing. So the flywheel is connected to this, which is also connected to the hydraulic hand pump with a little pressure relief valve on it. So I just got to retighten up the valve. And then give her some pumps, and you'll see this gap here comes towards me. And the blade tenses up. So before I tighten it a little more, I'm just going to make sure it's on the flywheel good. I think we're good.
There's a widowmaker up in that tree there.
I called it a widow killer.
Yeah, the
It
widow.
could potentially be a widow killer.
It could. But that would be pretty rare. Just precariously laying in the... Are these alders or birch? I think they're birch.
They're alder.
Are they alder?
Yeah. Birch are whiter.
It's quite far up. I don't think that we could
Oh.
possibly get it down.
It would be good to know if anybody that's watching and has experience with mills, how to get the right amount of tension on the blade. I'm just doing it by hand. Obviously don't want to over tighten it, especially with the hydraulic pump, because you could probably snap the blade. Pretty sure I've got it not too tight, but tight enough for it to have the right amount of tension in it. We're ready to go. Are you ready to cut some wood now? For real?
Yes.
Yes. For real. Okay, everything is in place. That didn't work very well. I have a problem here, and I don't know if it's the tension in the blade. But this is definitely not a straight cut. If it is, I'm out to lunch, but I tell you, there was too much tension. Like it's up and down like way too much.
That's a Home Depot 2x4.
Is there any dogs down there? Yeah, it's so up and down. Ah, well, wonder what caused that. Maybe, like, is the trailer track out that much? Can't be. Oh yeah. Wow. Okay. So that was a rookie move.